Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks. Good morning. I don't know what morning is for you. It's 9 o'clock for me. Do I look like I just woke up? Good afternoon, good evening. Um, yeah, so I'm on the Japan, South Korea side of things tonight. So I'm more awake than I usually am, although this is the opposite problem. Now I'm tired. The other kind of tired, right? Um, so the first thing many of you may know this, but I'm going to repeat it, is that we have a new program that we started for ACI teachers. And that program allows people to become ACI teachers by teaching a class. And if you remember last class, who did we have teach for us? It was Wordsmith. So today, surprise, is another one of our graduates is going to teach. His name is Javier. He's from New York. He's a phenomenal teacher. Hopefully, I told the Worldview staff about it. So hopefully they inform the translators so they won't be freaking out too much. But he's going to come in about 15 minutes or so. So I thought we could start class with a meditation. So let's get ourselves ready. Oh, by the way, turn on your cameras. There's only 40 of you. I got 20 of you on 16 of you on screen. Please turn on your cameras. I'd like to see your beautiful faces. Yeah, at least the ones have cameras on are smiling. There, thank you. I'm actually getting really excited. While you're all getting set up for meditation, we have a really fun tour happening. We're going to be starting a trip in Taiwan in the middle of July. So if you're anywhere in Asia and you want to come to that, I don't know, is Janet here? Yes, Janet, turn your camera and smile. Don't know where she is. There's Janet. Everyone say hi to Janet. We're going to add the spotlight. Hi, Janet. So
Hi.
Janet is one of the assistant producers of the event. She doesn't know that, but she is.
Really?
Yes, you are. Just been promoted. Um,
Yay.
yeah, she was also helping out a lot with the ACI 2 course we did last week in Kyoto. So thank you, Janet, for that. And if you're in Asia in July, come to Taiwan. We're going to have a great program on meditation. So that's the first program. And then the second program, is she here? She's not. So this is going to be our producer. Here's our producer of our second program, Anastasia.
Hi.
Alona with that. And after Taiwan, I'm going to be going to Barcelona for 5 or 6 days, I think, some of which I'd like to be on the beach. So schedule beach time in, please. So Anastasia, if you want to come to Barcelona, talk to her. And then after that, we're going to Romania, and I have no idea who's managing that. So we're just going to say the translator, Luisa. You can reach out to her. That's going to be somewhere around July 20th, 23rd, or something like that in Romania. So if you want to come to that program, talk to Luisa. We'll get some QR codes up soon. And then after that, let's see, is anybody here interesting around that? Doesn't look like it. Is anyone here from Mexico? Sometimes Fernanda is here. She's not. Okay. Anyhow, and after that, we're going to be in Mexico. So, oh, Barbara. you can talk to this person. Talk to her. We're gonna go to Mexico City for 3 days.
Yes, we
So
will
we're
see
super
you
excited.
there.
Yeah, our tour coming up. So, all right, that's enough promoting. Let's sit and meditate. All right, so close your eyes. Hi, Mike. By the way, Mike, thank you for joining our 30-30-30 team. I'm very excited to see you on that. I'm hearing wonderful things, even though I'm doesn't look like I'm paying attention. Thank you very much. See, if you turn on your camera, you get recognized. If you're feeling lonely, if you want to get recognized, just turn your camera. We'll give you a job, and then I'll have to say thank you. Get it? All right. All right. Shut up, Tim. Close your eyes. Come to your breath. Connect with the sensations of your breath. Notice how it feels to exhale and inhale. And then bring your awareness to the tip of your nose. And then we'll begin counting our breath. And we're just going to count to 25 today. Exhale. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 2. And continue on your own. And wherever you are, let go of the counting. And in front of you, see almost like a sea of living beings, like all different kinds of people, all different kinds of beings, like you're in a stadium. You're on stage and all of them are standing out in front of you. And they're looking to you for help. And in your heart, you feel a tremendous rise of generosity. That you're willing to give them whatever it is they need to be happy, to be free of all pain. And then behind you, see every single thing that you possess. And if there's something big like a house or a car, you could shrink it down small just so it all fits behind you. Even any of the money you have saved up in a bank account. Maybe you can see piles of that money behind you as well. Everything that you consider yours. And also consider your body as something that you give them as well. And then looking out into those sea of beings, what are you willing to give them of the stuff that you own? And sort of like Marie Kondo, who goes through her house, what things do you want to keep? Maybe you're attached to it. Which of the things are you willing to let go of more easily? So separate everything you own into two piles. The things that you can give away, no problem. And then the things you're not ready to let go of. No judging. But notice the resistance you might have to letting it go. And then just take note of what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do for all of those beings. And the things that you can let go of, joyfully give them away to all of them right now. Multiply them like Samantha Vajra's offering cloud, and then send them off to all those beings. And see how joyfully they are receiving them. And then come back to your breath. 3 long exhales. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and stretch. All right. Yay. All right. And now I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Javier Perez Caro. And as I said, he's here as, in our new program of teacher certification, passing his final exam. I get to take notes, judge him thoroughly, criticize him thoroughly of the great job he's going to do.
Thank you, Tim.
Welcome. And he'll be teaching the rest of class 6. Good luck.
Yay. Thank you so much. This is great. I'm very excited. First, I'm not a doctor, but I'll play one on TV if the pay is right. No, but for real, I'm very excited. Master Shantideva is one of the most badass figures of the Buddhist lineage in my mind. So every time I get to just even study or play with the ideas that he presented. I'm very excited. This is also a great course to teach and to share. So this is what I want to do. I don't know how the presentation is going to work out very well. I think that I lose all your faces when I present. So I also opened up a Zoom in my iPad. So if you see me looking to the side or doing something weird, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to figure out where the things are. I have two tiny screens. So that's number one. Number two, little bit so you know who I am. So it's not like Tim just threw this guy in here. I have been teaching in New York
Just really quickly,
at the Three Jewels.
don't forget the translators.
Yeah, I just realized that as I started speaking, I was like, "Whoa, wait, there's interpreters here." The good thing that I opened up this window on the side because I was about to fly. Um, so I have been teaching at the Three Jewels for the last 12 years or so. I have been studying the ACI lineage since 2006. I've done ACI, I think, 2.5 times, all 18 courses. Not telling you that to show off. I'm telling you that to make you feel safe. I'm really just repeating what Geshe said once. And that's what we have all done with like different words in our own style. That's how we pass on the lineage. So yeah, that's me, Javier Perez Caram. Let me open up this presentation here. We're coming from, we're in the chapter of effort. This is the second part of the chapter of effort. Class 5, we talked a little bit about Buddha nature, Four Armies of the King, I think was class 5 too. So we're going to talk about other four forces in this class as well, different to those four forces and different to the four forces of purification. I think that Shantideva speaks of these four forces as some kind of like mental armies, like your tools to go to war with your mental afflictions. So we're talking about, let me pull up the text because I want to like read part of the text as we go. It's the best way to do it. We're in contemplation, number 14 from the commentary. And it reads like this: since they have stopped bad deeds, they feel no pain. And because they are wise, there's no dislike. This is due to the fact that thinking of things the wrong way and doing negative deeds harm the body and mind. So now it comes the part of like bodhisattvas feel no physical pain or no mental pain. Is that even possible? Can I conceive really of a moment of mine that can feel no pain? The explanation of that is in the other 4 lines of that text. The proof of that, or one of the proofs of that, aside from logically, I'm going to get there in a second, Nagarjuna, the father of the Madhyamika school, in his death, the way he died was very awesome, actually. There was a prince that needed a bodhisattva's head, his head specifically, because his father, the king, was attached to the life of Nagarjuna. And he really, really wanted to be a king, this prince, super arrogant. And his mother, seeing that he was sad because he was not going to be a king, was like, oh, Nagarjuna is a great bodhisattva. He'll give you anything you want. Go and ask him for his head, so that way you will have your king throne as you want it. And he went, talked to Nagarjuna, and Nagarjuna meditated on it, and he was like, well, you know what? I actually have done already all the bad deeds that I can do. The only one left for me to do is to actually, give you my head. So the prince was very excited, and he took his sword out and tried to cut off Nagarjuna's head, and it wouldn't come off. So this guy's karma was so good that he would not be caught by the sword of the prince. And then if I recall correctly, I think he said that you need sugargrass to cut me because I did that to a bug once, and that's the only way. That's the only bad karma that I have left. So that's what happens to bodhisattvas, and that's why they don't feel pain. They have been doing all this work all along to the point where they don't have any negative karma left to feel pain, to feel physical pain and mental pain, even though in this case we're talking about physical pain. Now, before I continue with the formal class, I think that it's important to always consider in every class that we are in this ACI course, how does this relate to me in real life? Because there is a warning, right? I think there's a warning at the end of last class, and there's a warning in this class. You should not be doing this, like cutting your body parts, giving your head, unless you really are a bodhisattva. Don't go hurting yourself. You should not be giving more than you feel comfortable giving. That actually will create bad karma. But the idea that by doing bodhisattva activity, I can eliminate all kinds of pain, it's just incredible. And I never started the presentation, did I? Yeah, it's just fascinating to me, the implications of that in terms of what do I do with my daily life? Where is this pain coming from? And now I know, if I believe in all this, that I can actually destroy it, eliminate it. So here, this is Nagarjuna. And this is the bodhisattva that feels no physical pain. So Shantideva goes and tells us that there's two sources to that pain. And the main source of the mental and physical pain, one of the sources is the wrong view of thinking of me and mine as myself. Ignorance, like ignorance, the self-existent me and the self-existent mine. That is one of the sources of this physical pain. That is one of the reasons we cannot give ourselves fully to everyone else, because I have stories around this body being mine, about this money being mine, about this house being mine, about this body, about this mind, these ideas. You know, like I come from, right now I work in real estate in New York, but I come from a creative space in film. Did a lot of film work. And I am always amazed about how attached we are, or where are probably still, to our ideas as if they were ours. But the moment we speak it, the idea becomes something else in somebody else's mind. The moment I hang a painting or a photograph and somebody else sees it, it's not mine anymore. And we can take that to our body. You know, the people that donate their organs, and not to their friends, that's nice too. Amazing karma. But there is like a kidney payback program for example, where people can donate a kidney, just to add a kidney to the pool of kidneys. And people do that. That's bodhisattva activity. I'm not telling you go donate your kidney. Be as charitable as you feel comfortable being. Right? I'm not telling you go do this. But there are examples, clear examples of bodhisattva activity in our life, where these two sources, one of these two sources of pain, it seems to not be present. So that's the first source of pain, the misunderstanding, the ignorance, the belief of a self-existent me and mine. And the next source of physical pain is hurting other beings. According to Shantideva, when we hurt other beings, when we hurt living beings, not just other beings, actually hurting ourselves also is a source of our physical pain. So if you don't have either of these two, you are a bodhisattva. You don't feel pain. You have already overcome the dualism, the self-existent belief of me and mine, and you have not hurt a living being. I don't know for how long, maybe eons. I don't know how long it takes to become a bodhisattva. For some people, it will take more. For some people, it will take less. So what does this mean to our life? Again, like, where am I? We all are humans, right? We all are going to behave as if me and mine are self-existent. We are going to, unfortunately, because we are very unaware, often hurt other beings, both emotionally and physically. I think that in this case, they're really referring to physically, because the translation from Tibetan can be also translated into killing living beings. Geshe expanded it when he translated it. He said hurting. So what does that mean in my life? If I look at all the all the health issues that I might have, all the mental issues that I might have, and how do I solve them? Do I go to the doctor? And the doctor sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Do I go to the psychiatrist, to the psychologist? And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So Shantideva is saying that for those who it works, it's not because of the doctor, it's not because of the medicine, it's because they have stopped hurting people. Or they have hurt people a little less. And they have started planting karmas of not hurting. So we move along then to the next contemplation, contemplation 15. I am not putting text on the slides because I understand we all speak like 18 different languages. This is all in your readings. I just want to read it because it's a good transmission. So contemplation 13, the armist use 15, sorry. The armist used for achieving the goals of living kind are will, steadfastness, joy, and finally living off. Will is developed by fearing pain and engaging in the contemplation of the benefits that it gives. Eliminate then what acts against us. Work hard to use the various forces of will, confidence, he called it steadfastness before, joy, and also living us and being engaged and the feeling of self-command in order to increase your capacity for efforts. So let's break that down because there's a lot to unpack there. So Shantideva is talking about these new 4 forces. Again, not the same 4 forces of the king, not the same 4 forces of purification. I'm sure that if you work hard enough, you can build parallels, but that's not where we're going with this. Whoops, sorry. Aha. So the will force is the first force that he speaks of. And this is not the kind of will that you just wish for it to happen and it happens. It's a will of like making sure that you understand, knowing where things are coming from, you understand that you can actually get it done. When you understand cause and effect, when you have a clear understanding of emptiness, you can look at something and go like, I'll do it. I want to see it through. And you should also be like passionate about learning about cause and effect and karma as part of whatever bodhisattva activities you undertake. So it's not the same willpower of like, oh, just being willing to get up in the morning. But by contemplating, by understanding cause and effect, you can't help but wanting to do the thing because you understand exactly how to make it happen. You develop aspirations of doing the biggest thing. That's the force of will. By the way, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. I don't have the chat open, but I'm going to open it right now. I have the chat open now. If you do have any questions, throw them in the chat and I'll try to go at it. The second force is the force of steadfastness. And this is a weird word and not common word in English. It refers to a kind of steadiness, a kind of like rock solid steadiness. It's spelled Steadfast. That's steadfast. And then Ness, Ness. It's a kind of, yeah, steadiness with confidence, right? It really refers to a level of confidence. And here in the commentary, when we're referring to steadfast from Master Shantideva, it's this idea that, you have limited time. So you have some fire in your body. You have limited time. You're only alive for so long. And not only you're only alive for so long, most of us are only alive for so long, and we only have so much time off, right? When Geshe taught this, he made the example of Americans only have 2 weeks a year, and they work the other 50 weeks to get all this samsaric stuff. You have a glimpse in the whole line of your mind stream to do this work. So you have to be very careful of what you choose. You cannot just go out there and do whatever, right? So you first investigate what is this undertaking, no matter how virtuous, no matter how great it sounds, you always take a moment to pause and look at it. Can I make it happen? Do I have the resources? Do I understand it? It's so much so that Shantideva says that you should not undertake a task if you have not, if you don't think you can finish it, it's better not to take it, no matter how good it is. If you think you can finish it, you should not undertake it. So it's a level of confidence of knowing what it is that you're doing because you have already analyzed it. You understand how to start it. You understand how much effort it will take. You understand how to finish it. And another part of this force is that once you understand it, once you decide to do it, you never stop. You don't stop until it's finished or you die. And then the key to all this is your next force. Like this sounds unsustainable, right? But in your next force is the force of joy. You're supposed to be doing this with the joy of a kid playing, completely engrossed in playtime. I have 2 kids. I know this to be so true. They can just sit down with Legos for 3 hours or the TV, which is probably not the best option, but they also do it. So bodhisattvas are supposed to be busy. They're supposed to be all the time doing stuff, right? And they're supposed to do it with joy because they understand. Sorry, I hit the mute button in my mic when I knocked it. My apologies. Thank you very much for calling that out. I just gave you the recipe for enlightenment and you didn't hear it. No, I'm kidding. The I don't know where I left off. So the joy here is fundamental for the bodhisattva because you're supposed to be passionate about this virtuous activity. You understand that all this virtue that you're doing will result eventually, not just in your enlightenment, but in everyone else's enlightenment. You should be insatiable, said Geshe, in terms of the amount of work that you want to take on joyfully. Again, with the cautionary tale, don't push yourself to the edge. Don't go crazy with it. Just do enough that it feels right. That's part of the first force, right? The will. You're making sure that you have the strength to go at it. Or the steadfast too, the confidence actually, sorry. That's really the second force. You're making sure that you can do it. You have the tools to do it. In your mind, the mental, emotional tools to do it. So does this mean that a bodhisattva should be all busy all the time? No retreat, no meditation? No, that is part of the bodhisattva activity. That is part of the virtue that we're planting. Geshe makes a commentary of the distinction between a Hinayana path and a Mahayana path, where the Hinayana actually has more a philosophy of like meditate all the time, go and isolate yourself in a mountain or in a monastery and just meditate. Whereas the Mahayana has a more of the Bodhisattva path actually, where you are servicing every sentient being and not just servicing yourself. The path to awakening is through the service to other beings, and it should be joyful, and you should be passionate and crazy about it. Now, what happens is that you're going to get tired, and then the fourth force comes in. This is how brilliant Shantideva is, that he understood that even bodhisattvas need some rest. So we go into the fourth force, which is leaving off. That's how it's translated. And it just means to rest, to understand when in the undertaking of this activity, you need to take a step back. You know, I know so many people, and I'm sure some of you do too, because this is ACI 11. So I'm assuming most of you are not newbies. But I know so many people that started studying and they got very passionate about this and they dropped off everything and they just did this for an incredible 6 months and then they burned out, walked away. And they did a lot of virtue. Whatever they did in terms of studying and in terms of learning, it's important. But they could have gotten so much farther had they taken a break and then come back renewed. We all need it. I just told you I'm a dad. And my wife is on vacation right now. So I'm alone with 2 boys, 6 and 4. And what would happen if I didn't sleep 6 hours last night? Or the night before? Or the night before, the last 4 nights. Had I not slept, I would have not been able to take care of them. And that's exactly how a bodhisattva should feel. Now, here's the thing, right? Like, here's a question. This is editorial. This is me thinking. Not Geshe saying, not Shantideva saying, right? But my first thought that came up when going through all this is, well, if a bodhisattva doesn't feel pain, why would they need to rest? Now, here's the reminder. Shantideva didn't write this for the bodhisattvas. The bodhisattvas don't need the bodhisattva way of life. They already are living that. This is written for us, normal humans, who forget that we can act as a bodhisattva, and this is how we do it. I still have seeds of tiredness. I still have seeds of pain. I have to rest. If I get rid of all those seeds, then I'll tell you what that looks like. I don't know. Yeah, this is written for you, not for the bodhisattvas. And then this lands in a next contemplation on confidence. So 16, contemplation 16. Utilize the technique described in the Diamond Victory Banner to practice the confidence once one has begun. The Diamond Victory Banner is a sutra. It's called the Victory Banner of Diamonds. And I'll tell you later what the sutra says. So the contemplation continues. At the very beginning, appraise yourself to see if you have the resources needed, and then decide to act or not. The very highest thing to do would be not even to start a thing. But once you have begun, then never allow yourself to stop. So here he's talking about the steadfastness, that confidence part, right? In other parts of the text, it's actually translated as confidence and not steadfastness. It really refers to that unshakiness of the decision because you have analyzed it and so on. So this victory banner of diamond speaks about this confidence in a very specific way. And this is a homework question. What it says is that the confidence of a bodhisattva should resemble the confidence of the sun. And here's the story. You can be in a valley or in a city, and you have somebody standing in the middle of an open field. You have somebody sitting in the shade, and you have a blind person. And the sun will come out, and you will have this person in the field very happy. They can see the sun. They love it. You'll have the person in the shade that suspects there's sun out there, but they're not interested in really moving and seeing it. Maybe they don't even suspect. And then you have the blind person that might feel sun in the skin, but they cannot see it. Maybe there's a person in a basement that's completely oblivious that there's a sun. The confidence of a bodhisattva should resemble the sun in a way that the sun doesn't shine for people to go like, oh, great, sun, I see you shining. The sun shines because it's its job to shine. And some people will get the sunlight and some people will not. And you should still shine. So again, I love this metaphor. How do I apply this to my life? You know, like I had this conversation with someone last week about somebody difficult at work. And we have already talked before about the karmic causes of somebody difficult and how to uncause it. And, you know, part of the activity of that is the interaction with this being, right? You want to treat everybody kindly and be nice and everything, but with this being, the one that's difficult, you also have to do certain things. Does it matter if that other person appears to be reacting or not reacting to what you're doing? It doesn't. It doesn't matter. You should still do the thing. Because it's not about how the other person is feeling or not feeling or reacting. It's about the virtuous activity that you have decided to undertake. So just like the sun, go ahead and shine. And some people would want to put sunblock on and open their umbrellas and hide from you. Don't stop shining. Yeah, it's so important because when you start doing bodhisattva activity, some people are going to think you're weird. And that's fine. You are. Out of 9 billion people in this planet or 8 billion, only a handful of us are in this call. So you are weird. Don't let that weirdness, don't let people pointing out that weirdness make you stop shining. We really should have more people shining. So then we move on into the next contemplation. Contemplation 17. Was it 17? Oh, yeah. 17. The confidence of accomplishment is when you say, I am willing to do this thing all by myself. The entire world lives at the mercy of their mental afflictions. They are incapable of helping themselves at all. Beings can't do what I can do, and thus I'll be the one to do what must be done. Oof. Amazing, right? We are studying this. I just told you, you're a weirdo. You're one in millions. And you know what needs to be done to save them. Now, all of this, again, not from its own side, right? if you don't have the karma to see this, it's not going to be there for you. But if you do have the karma to understand this wisdom, if you have the karma to understand that only karma and emptiness can help you perceive a reality where everyone is safe, free from suffering, then you would not stop doing it, no matter how many people tell you don't do it. Even if everybody turns their back at you, you should have a level of confidence of knowing that this is the correct action where you will not stop. Yeah, and gladly, right? We should do it joyfully. We should be almost happy that we get to do it by ourselves. There's an edge here in this confidence that we're speaking of, right? And it's very easy for confidence to turn into into something else. I'm jumping ahead. Before I jump into the confidence part, there's also another contemplation that has to do a little bit with this confidence that we have, right? Like, and why we have to have the strong divine confidence, divine pride. Nagya is how you say it in Tibetan, Nagya. When we undertake this activity, if we do it like with low level intention, it doesn't help. When we start like playing Bodhisattva, but we just do it for play and not for the sake of reaching enlightenment, for the sake of all beings, it can do more harm than good in a way. So Contemplation 18 reads, if he encounters a snake, he referring the Bodhisattva practitioner, if they encounters a snake that's dead already, even the crow can emulate the deeds of the great Garuda. Garuda is this beautiful, mystic, majestic bird. This is from Hindu mythology and some Buddhist mythology as well. Back to the contemplation. If I continue to act like a weakling, even a minor slip in a vow will be able to do me damage. Do you really think you could ever be free living in the destitution of efforts lost to discouragement? So don't be a crow. Don't try to act like a Garuda with a dead snake. Be confident. Let go of your past identity is what Shantideva is saying. Be confident that you're a bodhisattva, not a weakling. If you undertake activity that you cannot finish and you don't finish the karma, for example, that will create a little bit of discouragement. If you feel too much pride and then something doesn't come the way you want, then it will create discouragement. So don't be like the crowd, emulating, pretending that you are a Garuda while you are just beating up a dead snake. And if you are a crowd, just find a smaller snake that's still alive, and then that will give you strength and confidence to go for the bigger snake and the bigger snake. Bodhisattvas don't happen right away. There's 10 levels, right? Geshe, when he taught this in 1997, he said, New York City does not turn into a paradise in an instant. I relate to that so much. I live in New York, and I have been here 21 years, and I have seen it change into what is a very samsaric version of a paradise right now. But New York is empty. I am empty. My body is empty. My mind is empty. Your body is empty. Your mind is empty. Your city, town, house, your future paradise is empty. That means that it can be anything. And it also means that whatever is showing up to you right now, it's just past deeds. That if it doesn't look like a paradise, doesn't mean that it isn't. So be a Garuda. Plan the karmas to be a Garuda if you feel like a crab. Next contemplation. Contemplation 19. Is this landing well? Is anybody getting some thumbs up somewhere? I want to make sure that people are getting something. Yes, good, nice. Okay. I only see like 5 faces in my screen, so it's a little bit frustrating. Read a bit slow, please. Okay, I'll try to read slower. Contemplation 19. Those of confidence never become slaves of the enemy, pride. In this case, ignorant pride. Others have turned to slaves. Those whose hearts are filled up with the affliction of pride are by this thought degraded to the lower realms. The feast of a human life is too destroyed for them. As servants, then, they eat the crumbs from another's table. They're stupid and ugly and always feel uncertain of themselves. And every person they meet abuses them. Give me 2 seconds. I need to close the door. Okay. So what happens when this divine confidence of the Bodhisattva turns into just arrogance, pride? When we think we're the shit, but not in the sense of like, oh, I am doing so much good, but I am doing better than you. That's really a main problem with arrogance, is that it sounds or it brings those feelings that I am better than you. And Shantideva comes and tells us in very not soft language all the potential results of that in our life. So you're going to be asked in your homework to give 3 of these 8 different results. So I'm going to give you a little bit of this. I'm going to give you 8 of them in like words and talk about them a bit. Wait, I have until what, 9:30? Is that correct? So, okay, thank you. So I need to kind of run. I won't. So one of them, the first one is that you will be dragged to the lower realms. That's one of the main results of being prideful. Your next life, you will not be a human or anything above a human. Now, even if you were to be born as a human, it will ruin the happiness of your human life. So you're going to born as a miserable human. Now, can we see why? Because this is like, sometimes when we read scripture, we just accept it as so. And I think that's fine up to a point. Can we see why ignorant pride will send me to the lower realms, right? The karmic result of that is that thing of like, I am better than you. So I run out of that karma of betterness. I burn it through. So good virtue, and you just like fire to it. Same, let's say that you all have so much good virtue, even with the pride, that you're still born as a human. You will be born as a human in a sad life, not a festive life, I guess. You will be unhappy because you are prideful. The next one is that you will live by begging and without enough food. Shantideva said you will be eating the crumbs of somebody else's table. Yeah, of another's table is the words that he translated into. That probably has a little bit to do with the selfishness of pride, right? If you're very prideful, ignorant pride of what you're doing, then it's mine, self-existently mine, is what I do. I am so much better. Then you come back and you're not. We will be born as subjects of others, or as slaves or servants. As slaves or servants. Yeah, I can imagine a pride person wanting everybody to do things for them, right? And when you do that, then that comes back. I like this one. You will be stupid. You will lack intelligence. These are most obvious. Take pride in what you know and teach it with pride. Share it with pride, as if I know more than you. That's really what pride is. It's a judgment call. I am here, you're here. That ignorant pride. You will be ugly physically. So again, the same. All of these are empty, right? They're empty, and the reason why we're experiencing all this is because we are doing this not proper work as bodhisattvas when we're ignorantly proud. So we have proud about our physical looks. We think we're better looking than the rest. That turns around in an instant, boom, comes and bites us, and then we look ugly. We look ugly to others, right? Maybe we still look ourselves in the mirror and we're like, oh, we're beautiful, but people are going to look at us and they're going to see us ugly. So our karma is going to be of looking ugly to other people who will eventually believe we are ugly. We will lack self-confidence, no self-confidence, and we will be abused by others, even if we have done nothing to hurt them. Easy to see that when we're talking about the result of ignorant pride, I think. Both lacking self-confidence, like once we run out of that ignorant pride, then all of a sudden, oh, wait, that must have been a lie because now I don't feel it anymore. And then being abused, yeah, I mean, of course, that's almost certain, you know, proud people usually are somewhat abusive, like ignorantly proud people are somewhat abusive. Even if they're not abusive in their language, just like the sense of superiority if you are supposed to be doing bodhisattva activity. So that's another thing here, right? This is not everybody who is proud about their accomplishments will have these consequences. If I have taken Bodhisattva vows and I am trying to do Bodhisattva activity, and it turns out that I feel this ignorant pride from the Bodhisattva activity, these are the consequences. Probably need to speed up. So you need 3 of those for your homework. I gave you 8. Hopefully you remember 3 during your reading anyway. Contemplation 20. When you find yourself in the enemy's camp and surrounded, look for 1,000 ways to shield yourself from them. Be like a lion with foxes and such, never allowing the mass of mental afflictions to break through you. A person may find themselves in the middle of a desert forsaken, yet still they try to act to protect their eyes. They may be the same, and you may be the same, and find yourself hard-pressed, but never allow your affirmations to master you. Your afflictions, no, your affirmations, sorry. Your afflictions to master you. It's my dyslexia coming out. So this is great. Not a homework question, but certainly an important part of the reading. We have mental afflictions. They show up. We need to protect our mind from our afflictions. Just like the idea that when this person is in a desert, they cover their eyes. They cover their eyes because that's what they need to see, to move, to get out of that desert of afflictions. That's the metaphor. The desert, the harsh environment is the afflictions. You are to protect your ethics, your vows, your mind, like you would protect your eyes in a sandstorm. From all those mental afflictions that you know you have. If you had studied karma and emptiness for more than a minute, you know you have them. So Shantideva is reminding us that as we go through all these emotions, pride shows up. Because confidence and pride are like so close that like divine pride and ignorant pride have a very similar flavor. One of them is for the sake of every being. I know I'm doing the correct thing. And the other one is, I am so much better than every being. Watch me how I'm going to take them to enlightenment. We have to protect ourselves from that. That is horrible. It will have all those consequences. Just like any other mental affliction that shows up, we need to purify it. Say hello to Kat. Kat, say hello to people. Yeah, we need to master that, he said. And then in the next contemplation, Master Shantideva says, like those who seek a feeling of fun from playing a game, these ones as well should cultivate a craving for this work. All those that work for them and come to be insatiable in seeking it and taking joy. Back to the idea of joy, right? I mean, the perfection is joyful effort. Protect yourself from your mental afflictions and have fun. Actually, I think that is probably the only way to have fun. If we allow our mental afflictions to come in, we would probably not have fun. you need to feel excited about your virtuous activity. You know, like tracking our vows is, I'm assuming everybody here knows what the 6 times book is. If you don't, please ask, look it up in knowledge base. It's important. It's a good practice. So you watch your vows 6 times a day, right? And you're going about your life. And then I used to be of the kind of like, oh no, I just broke a vow, and be worried about it. And that doesn't help. I am able now to watch myself in the process of doing something that looks like breaking a vow, and instead of feeling like, oh, I kind of like go like, great, that one's for the books. So I'm almost looking for the flaws that will go in the, this is how I didn't observe this vow now, with excitement, because I get to purify it. And it has changed my relationship to the book in many ways. Sojongs, it's exciting to go and confess. First, because it's safe. I'm confessing to my Sangha, easy. But then I know I'm purifying. I know it's helping me. It's helping clear that mind stream. That's how we should engage in bodhisattva activity, with excitement, the same excitement that this kid is about to fly out. Then we go to our next contemplation, contemplation 22. People work for happiness, but there's no certainty that what they do will make them happy. How can you ever be happy if you fail to do that single work, their own, which makes you happy? So there's no result without a cause, huh? You never feel satisfied with objects of desire, honey smeared on a razor blade. Why, at the same time, are you always content with the sum of merit you have for the happiness of the fruits and peace? That's the honey on a razor blade. And I've always loved this image that Shantideva gives us. It rings so true to me. I can find myself in these compulsive behaviors that I know are hurting me. I know are hurting somebody else. And I keep licking the honey, no matter how much blood is coming out of my mouth. And if I do this after close to 20 years of studying, imagine people who don't know any of this, people who don't understand karma or emptiness or dependent origination. I imagine they're grabbing knives and cutting their mouth with a little bit of honey in it and doing it over and over again. It doesn't matter how good it seems to taste. It's not anything that is not bodhisattva activity, anything that is not to move our mind to enlightenment has a razor blade behind it. And anything that we do bodhisattva activity wise, if we do it with the wrong view, with a misunderstanding of a self-existent me and mine, it also has a razor blade behind it. The way we think of happiness, it's broken. That's what Shantideva is telling us. That is part of the fire that as bodhisattvas we should have to free everybody from all this. So it's not just me not licking the razor blade, but man, can I get my mom to stop licking her razor blade? And my dad and my spouse and my kids. Or am I putting more honey on the razor blade? Am I putting more honey on my razor blade? Hmm. Yeah, that's such a great metaphor, such a great image. And then we have one more contemplation. 24. Our mental afflictions, man, they're a thing. So this is also part of like how, like, remember, we're coming from protecting our mind from mental afflictions, and that's why we're talking now about a razor blade, not that it came from nowhere, right? Like, we're trying to protect our mind from mental afflictions. This is how mental afflictions show up. Even when our life looks delicious, it's gonna cut us. You know? Now, here's the problem with karma. It's delayed, right? So there's this contemplation 24. Poison makes its way throughout the entire body, riding upon the cursing of the blood. Just so, should they find an opening, then negatives make their way throughout the entire mind. So our mental afflictions are like poison for our mind and our body. Suppose a person handed you a bowl completely full of oil, then stood before you with a sword, threatening to take your life should a drop spill. You aesthetics must concentrate like this. So we're about to move from effort into concentration. And the next class, I think, kicks in concentration. So our mental afflictions can enter our mind the same way poison enters our bloodstream and goes throughout our whole body. It is a problem that we don't see karma happening immediately, like we would if we were carrying this bowl of oil with us, and a swordman would be standing in front of us, ready to slice us. The story that both Geshe and Hector Marcel, Holy Hector Marcel, my teacher, tell around this is very New York. In New York, we have a lot of roaches. And Geshe says that a lot of people came to him often. I know they probably come to Hector as well. I've had this conversation around mosquitoes, but it's like, can I kill roaches? There's like 25 of them in my house. And here's the thing. Even a bug, whatever it is that you're killing, if you're killing it on purpose more so, if while you're stepping on the bog, you would actually feel your chest being crushed immediately, you would never do it. If while you're stabbing somebody with a sword, you would feel the pain in your own abdomen, you would never do it. Now, we know, because we have studied, that karma actually has a delayed effect. But because we have studied, if we have entered the bodhisattva path, if we want to attain enlightenment for the sake of every being that we know and we don't know, we should know that all the harm that we do will eventually come. And we should fear it as much as we would fear a guy holding a sword to my neck if I spill a drop of oil. Because karma is certain. Whatever we do, if not purified, will double in force, in strength every day until it ripens. Both the good and the bad. The good is great. We call it virtue here in this of what we're talking, which means doing bodhisattva activities. The bad, it would crush your chest. Unfortunately, not the instant moment you do it, because otherwise we wouldn't do it. And that is what Shantideva had for us today. A beautiful ending in a good lesson on really like how we should look at karma. We should be scared shitless of planting bad karma. The same way we would be of that sort. I'm going to turn this screen share off really quickly. Where do I do that? Okay. All right. So those were the content of the questions. It's already 9:30. I don't know what you guys have in terms of like running, not running, or chatting or not chatting. But if you do have any questions, I am here. I see one hand raised. You can drop it on the chat or open your mic and ask it. It's all good with me. No? Well, it has been a pleasure sharing this class with you guys. I love Master Shantideva. How to recognize subtle pride. Oh, what a great question. It's easier than you think. When you start feeling a little bit of confidence, always ask yourself, do I feel better than somebody else? And if the answer is yes, that's pride. That's my answer on recognizing subtle pride, because that's the most confusing one. Actually, almost always is that tiny karma, that subtle karma that's going to get us in the end. It's not the very bad things that we do. Most of us are not around there killing our moms or destroying countries. So it's the little things. It's when I don't pick up my mom's phone call. That's what's going to get me. How do we quickly burn it? Shantivani asked. How do we quickly burn it? There are purification practices. They're also called the four powers or the four forces of purification. That would be my route. You first have to recognize that you are doing something in terms of pride or bad activity, and then going to doing some purification. I'm sure that there's like some Vajrasattva purification events or four powers, four forces meditations that you can do that will help out. If you're on retreat, you do fire pujas. Again, none of this is self-existent, right? Like, it's not about quickly burning it just because like, oh, no, but like really like, do I understand why I want to burn it? Like, do I understand the consequences of my pride or of whatever it is that I'm trying to burn, right? Because otherwise you can do the thing 100 times. And if you're doing it because there's a thing to do, it will have a very tamed result. If you're doing it understanding why you regret the pride and why you wish next time it wasn't there, then you can do the ritual or just feel in your mind that you're purifying it, and it will have an amazing strength. There's another question. Confident is not about criticizing others. I'm not sure I understand the question. Confident is not about criticizing others would be an affirmation in my mind. But confidence and pride are different things in this case, right? Lack of confidence. Yeah, I think the lack of confidence might make you criticize others as a protection, but lack of confidence comes from ignorant pride. When you feel proud about something ignorantly, when you feel better than others, you burn that karma and you have planted a karma of, if I see myself better than others, somebody else will see themselves better than me. And one day you will enter a room where you will believe that everyone in that room sees themselves better than you. And that will make you have the perception of lack of confidence. I don't know if criticizing others necessarily immediately is the cause of lack of confidence. I can see how that can be part of the cause or one of the conditions that makes lack of confidence arise. Yeah. I'm glad that came across like that, Marina. Well, I am very happy that it landed for you guys, and I hope that you get to benefit from it, and hopefully one day you get to teach it too. Thank you so much, Tim, for the opportunity. And if you guys, I can drop my email here in case you wanted to reach out with any questions.
Thank you, Javier. Very much appreciate you teaching today. And you just had a nice little plug there. Gina, could you get up the teacher training banner, please? We have a teacher training coming up. Someday you will get to teach some of this. And yes, we are getting there. We're going to be starting teacher training 7 for the Bodhisattva vows in 2 weeks, I think, 2 weekends. And we hope that all of you can join us. If you're interested in taking the course, first of all, you need to have ACI 7 done. Secondly, you have to have your Bodhisattva vows. If you want to be a teacher of the Bodhisattva vows, you have to have the Bodhisattva vows. And if you haven't taken them but want to take them and still want to take the course, we're going to offer a way around it where you have to take the vows at the beginning of the course and then have to practice them for like 6 months before you get a certificate. And if you don't want to take the course, but you want to listen, we also have that opportunity as well. And we highly, highly recommend coming to these classes because you see a different side of the teachers and they tell you what they're doing in class versus just do what they do best. So please join us for this course. It's going to be really, really amazing. We're going to be going through all the vows in a very, very deep detail. And then you, as this budding teachers, will create a manual for yourself. So you will then have a whole reference to be able to look at the vows and understand what the relationships are to different seeds that students need to plant and also different afflictions they may have, which is a lot. Because if you see your students having afflictions, probably means you have them too. So please join us. Thank you, Javier, once again for teaching today. Very much appreciated. My favorite part was when your cat showed up, you know, which is what my cat does at about that same time. It's like, hey, pay attention to me. Very much appreciate having you here. And everybody will be back in 22 minutes for Lamrim translation, if you'd like to stick around. So hope if you're leaving, thank you for joining. And if you're staying, we'll see you shortly. And
thank you all. Love you. Take care.
And everyone say goodbye to Javier, please.
Thank you so much.
Hi, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Javier.
So
It was amazing.
Gracias, team.
Thank you,
Gracias,
Javier.
Javier.
Thank you so much.